Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where everything is so fast-paced and opinions are thrown around without second thought, the easiest thing to do is to react. Someone disrespects you, someone misunderstands you, or someone says something that hits a nerve, and in that moment, everything inside you wants to retaliate, to prove your point, to defend your honor. But what if I told you that the most powerful response isn't a response at all? What if I told you that silence and distance hold far more power than any reaction could ever give you? When we react, we give our energy to the situation, and more importantly, we give control of our emotions to someone else. Reacting means we allow the words or actions of others to define how we feel, how we think, and how we act, and in doing so, we lose control. The power shifts away from us and into their hands. But true strength, real control, is in the ability to stay composed, to remain unaffected, to cut them off silently without giving them any more of your time, your energy, or your focus. People will always try to provoke you. The world is filled with those who seek to drag you into drama, to get under your skin, to challenge your peace of mind. But the choice is always yours. You decide whether or not you engage. You decide how you respond to the noise around you. And in those moments, silence is your greatest weapon. You do not need to justify yourself to anyone. You do not need to explain your worth. You do not need to stoop to their level. Let them talk, let them shout, let them criticize. But do not allow their words to become your reality. Do not react to them. Simply cut them off silently. Cutting someone off silently doesn't mean shutting them out of your life in a dramatic way or seeking revenge. It's not about retaliation. It's about removing the emotional charge from the situation. It's about choosing peace over conflict. It's about not allowing their negativity to penetrate your sense of self. When you cut them off silently, you rise above the situation. You show them that their attempts to disrupt you have no power. You refuse to engage in the low energy game they're playing. Instead, you choose to move forward with your head held high, unaffected by their words or actions. This isn't a call for passivity, it's a call for strength. True strength is in the ability to walk away from what doesn't serve you, to let go of toxic relationships and negative energy without drama or confrontation. You don't need to argue, you don't need to convince them of your worth, and you certainly don't need to let them steal your peace. You simply need to move forward with grace, with dignity, and with purpose. The more you practice silence in the face of disrespect, the stronger you become. The more you cut off negativity, the more you free up space in your life for the things that truly matter. And soon you'll realize that not everyone deserves your attention, not every opinion requires your validation, and not every situation needs your reaction. Choose to guard your energy. Choose peace over conflict. Choose to rise above, not to sink down to their level. Because the truth is, when you cut them off silently, you're not just protecting yourself, you're elevating yourself. You're choosing to live above the noise and distractions, to stay focused on your goals and your purpose. And that, my friend, is where true power lies. When you react to something or someone, you are giving away a part of yourself. Every time you let your emotions control your response to an external situation, you're handing over your power. The world is filled with distractions, people who try to provoke you in situations that challenge your patience. And in those moments, when your first instinct is to react, it's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment and lose sight of the bigger picture. You may feel justified in your response, but the truth is, you are losing more than just an argument. You're losing your peace, your clarity, and most importantly, your control. Emotions are powerful, but they are also fleeting. When you allow them to dictate how you respond, you give those emotions authority over your life. The rush of anger, frustration, or indignation can feel satisfying in the moment, but it is often followed by regret, confusion, and a loss of focus. Reacting without thinking, without understanding the long-term consequences of your actions, leads to emotional chaos. And in that chaos, you lose the opportunity to make thoughtful, rational decisions. Instead of acting in alignment with your values and goals, you're simply reacting to the impulses of the moment. Moreover, when you allow others to provoke you into a reaction, you give them power over you. They control your emotional state, and as a result, they also control how you behave. The moment you react, you have stopped being in control of yourself. You've allowed someone else's words, actions, or behavior to dictate your response. This creates a cycle where, over time, others begin to have more influence over your thoughts and actions than you do. You give away your inner peace, and in exchange, you invite stress, frustration, and negativity into your life. What many fail to realize is that true strength lies in the ability to remain composed, to observe a situation without being swept up in it. When you don't react, you are not denying your emotions. You're simply choosing not to let them control you. You're making a conscious decision to rise above the situation and maintain your power. This allows you to respond from a place of clarity, wisdom, and strength, rather than from a place of reactivity. Not reacting gives you the space to reflect on the situation, to think about your desired outcome, and to act intentionally. It's in those moments of pause, when you resist the urge to immediately react, that you can make decisions that are in line with your long-term goals. The power of silence allows you to remain aligned with your values and to stay focused on the bigger picture, no matter how much someone or something tries to pull you off course. Every time you resist the urge to react, you are exercising discipline over your emotions, and in doing so, you are strengthening your inner resolve and asserting control over your life. Instead of being swept away by external forces, you create a calm, focused space within yourself where you can choose how to respond, not just react. Silence is one of the most underestimated tools for maintaining personal power. In a world that constantly demands reactions, opinions, and instant responses, silence has become a rare and underrated form of strength. Most people feel compelled to speak, to justify, to defend themselves, or to lash out when they're confronted with negativity or disrespect. But in these moments, silence speaks louder than any words could ever do. When you choose silence over reaction, you regain control over the situation. Responding impulsively often leads to regret, as emotions cloud your judgment and escalate the issue. Instead of allowing your feelings to dictate your actions, silence gives you the space to detach and observe. By not engaging in the moment, you assert that the situation, the negativity, or the person provoking you does not deserve your energy or attention. You are effectively choosing not to participate in the chaos around you. In moments of conflict or provocation, silence demonstrates emotional maturity. It shows that you are secure enough not to need validation or approval from others. You don't need to explain yourself or get the last word. Silence conveys strength, as it is an active choice to stay calm and composed rather than a passive, responsive avoidance. It's a way of standing your ground without saying a single word. This form of self-control sends a powerful message to those around you that you are not easily rattled, that you are capable of maintaining your peace no matter the circumstances. By not reacting, you allow the other person to reveal more of themselves. Often when we react, we mirror the negative energy being thrown at us. We engage in a back and forth battle of words and emotions, which only serves to feed into the negativity. But when you remain silent, you deny them the response they expect. It forces them to confront their own actions without getting the satisfaction of dragging you into the conflict. The longer you maintain silence, the more the person realizes that their attempts to provoke you are futile, and in that realization, they may find themselves questioning their own behavior. Silence also provides clarity. When we react, our emotions can cloud our perception, leading us to say things we don't mean or to act in a way we later regret. But silence allows you the time and space to process the situation, gives you the opportunity to step back, evaluate the context, and choose the best course of action. Instead of being reactive, you become proactive. You approach the situation from a place of wisdom, not from the heat of the moment. Moreover, silence is a tool for protecting your own peace. Every time you engage with negativity, every time you react emotionally to someone else's words or actions, you let them take up space in your mind. You allow their negativity to intrude on your mental and emotional well-being. But when you choose silence, you reclaim that space. You preserve your inner peace and avoid the emotional turbulence that often accompanies conflict. Silence doesn't mean weakness, it's the opposite. It's a demonstration of inner strength, emotional intelligence, and self-control. It's a conscious decision to not let the outside world control how you feel or how you act. Silence is power, and it's in that silence that you become the master of your own emotions and actions. Emotional detachment is one of the most powerful tools for maintaining control over your life. It's not about shutting off your emotions or becoming numb to what's going on around you. Instead, it's about learning to separate yourself from the emotional charge of a situation and not allowing others to dictate how you feel. When you practice emotional detachment, you create a buffer between your inner world and the external circumstances. This buffer allows you to make decisions that are based on logic, clarity, and long-term objectives rather than being driven by momentary feelings. People often assume that detaching emotionally means that you no longer care, but in reality, emotional detachment is a sign of deep care for your own well-being. It's about recognizing that your emotional state is your responsibility, not something that should be governed by the actions of others. When you allow yourself to become emotionally entangled in situations, you give away your power. You allow someone's negativity or disrespect to dictate your mood and behavior. But when you detach emotionally, you take back that power, you stop reacting to external triggers and start responding from a place of strength. Emotional detachment also creates mental clarity. When emotions take the lead, your judgment becomes clouded. You may say or do things in the heat of the moment that you later regret. By stepping back emotionally, you gain the clarity needed to assess the situation without distortion. This allows you to respond more rationally, calmly, and with greater insight. Instead of being swept away by emotional impulses, you can take a step back, evaluate your options, and make decisions that align with your values and goals. Another key aspect of emotional detachment is learning to avoid taking things personally. When someone insults you, disrespects you, or undermines you, it's easy to internalize their words and allow them to hurt you. But emotional detachment teaches you to view the situation objectively. What others say or do is more a reflection of them than it is of you. When you take things personally, you allow other people's opinions to shape your sense of self-worth. But by emotionally detaching, you no longer give others that kind of power over you. You become more resilient to criticism, rejection, or negativity because you understand that their words are not a direct reflection of your value. Detaching emotionally doesn't mean avoiding difficult conversations or shutting yourself off from others. It simply means that you don't allow emotions to control your actions. You can still have meaningful interactions, express your feelings, and address conflicts, but you do so from a place of calm, not from a place of reaction. It's about finding the balance between being fully present and engaged while also protecting your emotional boundaries. The more you practice emotional detachment, the more you strengthen your inner peace. You stop giving away your energy to people who don't deserve it and to situations that don't matter in the grand scheme of your life. Instead, you reserve your emotional energy for what truly aligns with your values, your dreams, and your goals. Emotional detachment allows you to move through life with greater ease, resilience, and focus, unaffected by the turbulence that others may try to create around you. There's a profound truth in the idea that you don't need to justify yourself to anyone. In a world that constantly pressures us to explain our actions, our choices, and our values, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation from others. We often find ourselves defending our decisions, our beliefs, or our way of life as if we owe an explanation to every person who questions us. But in reality, the only person you need to justify your life to is yourself. When you are confident in who you are and in the decisions you make, there's no need to prove anything to anyone. The desire to justify yourself often comes from a place of insecurity or fear of judgment. It's natural to want others to approve of your choices, to see things your way, or to recognize your worth. But constantly seeking validation from external sources leaves you vulnerable to other people's opinions, which can be fleeting and unreliable. When you depend on others to validate your actions or existence, you lose sight of your own inner compass and start living according to the expectations of others rather than your own values. Justifying yourself to others is an exhausting cycle. The more you explain yourself, the more questions arise. The more you try to prove your worth or defend your actions, the more you become entangled in a never-ending loop of needing to do so. The truth is, no amount of justification will ever be enough for some people. They may always find a reason to challenge you, to criticize you, or to question your choices. The only way to break free from this cycle is to stop justifying yourself and to start living according to your own standards. When you stop justifying yourself, you embrace your authenticity. You stop trying to fit into someone else's mold or meet their expectations. Instead, you live according to your values, your vision, and your principles. This doesn't mean you act recklessly or irresponsibly, but it means that your decisions are aligned with your true self, not influenced by the need for approval from others. The more you practice this, the stronger you become in your sense of self-worth. You stop questioning yourself based on what others think and start trusting in your own judgment and instincts. The power in not justifying yourself is that you create a sense of peace and freedom within. When you stop seeking approval, you stop being influenced by external noise. You no longer feel the need to explain every action or decision, and as a result, you free up emotional and mental space to focus on what truly matters. You can invest your energy into your personal growth, your dreams, and your goals instead of wasting it on defending your choices to others. Living without the need to justify yourself also means setting boundaries. It means learning to say no when necessary and standing firm in your beliefs and values without feeling guilty for doing so. You don't need to explain why you make certain choices, why you value certain things, or why you choose certain people in your life. Your life is your own, and the moment you stop justifying yourself is the moment you reclaim your power. When you stop justifying yourself, you let go of the fear of judgment and criticism. You accept that not everyone will understand your path, and that's okay. What matters is that you're living authentically, true to your vision, and unapologetically following your own course. The beauty of this is that as you become more confident in yourself, others will begin to recognize and respect you for it. The right people, those who align with your values and goals, will come into your life, and the rest will fade away. You'll no longer waste energy on convincing others of your worth because you already know it. Letting go of the need to react or engage in every situation is one of the most liberating choices you can make. Often we feel compelled to respond to everything that comes our way, whether it's a comment, an argument, or a situation that provokes us. This instinct to react is ingrained in many of us, fueled by a desire for control, validation, or the need to set things straight. However, when you start to realize the power in letting go of the need to engage, you unlock a level of emotional freedom that can significantly enhance your peace of mind. Not every situation requires your attention or involvement. In fact, many situations are simply distractions that seek to pull you into unnecessary conflict, stress, or emotional turbulence. If you engage with every provocation or minor issue that arises, you will find yourself constantly reacting, constantly on the defensive, and constantly wasting your energy on things that do not serve your long-term well-being. Over time, this reactivity drains your resources and leaves you feeling exhausted, both mentally and emotionally. The key to mastering this is understanding that your energy is precious. You cannot afford to spend it on every minor irritant or negative encounter that comes your way. Not every person who tries to draw you into their drama deserves a response. Not every opinion that contradicts your own requires a rebuttal. When you begin to discern what truly matters and what is worth your attention, you realize that silence, in many cases, is the most powerful response. By choosing not to react to every situation, you stop feeding the negativity around you. Many people are looking for a reaction, whether it's to get attention, to manipulate you, or simply to pull you down to their level. When you choose not to react, you remove the fuel from their fire. You stop giving them the emotional satisfaction of drawing you into their conflict. In doing so, you create a boundary that protects your peace and your focus. By letting go of the need to react, you allow space for reflection. In the moments when you choose not to immediately engage, you give yourself the opportunity to think. You can assess the situation, understand your emotions, and decide whether a reaction is truly warranted or if silence will serve you better. Reacting in the heat of the moment often leads to rash decisions, hurtful words, or actions you regret. But taking a step back allows you to respond with greater wisdom, calm, and intention. Letting go of the need to engage also means that you are not governed by the emotions of others. Many of us react because we feel triggered by what others say or do. But when you release the need to engage, you take control of your own emotional state. You no longer let others dictate how you feel or behave. Instead, you create an internal environment of peace where you respond only when it's in alignment with your goals and values, not out of impulse or external pressure. As you begin to practice letting go of the need to react, you start to notice a shift in your emotional landscape. You become less emotionally reactive, more grounded, and more focused on the things that truly matter to you. Your sense of inner peace strengthens, and you feel less caught up in the drama and chaos that often surrounds you. You create space for personal growth, for meaningful relationships, and for pursuing your goals without the constant distractions of unnecessary conflict. In the end, letting go of the need to react is an act of self-care, a conscious decision to prioritize your own well-being over the noise of the world. Choosing silence over reaction is not merely about avoiding confrontation. It's about choosing control, wisdom, and peace in a world that often thrives on chaos. Every day we encounter situations that can trigger a reaction, whether it's a rude comment, a disagreement, or an injustice. The world tells us that we need to respond immediately, that our voice must be heard and our stance must be taken. But what if the most powerful choice we can make in such moments is to say nothing at all? Silence is an incredibly powerful tool, one that allows you to retain control over your emotions and decisions. When you react, especially in moments of anger or frustration, you give up control. You let emotions dictate your actions, often leading to words or behaviors you'll regret later. Silence, however, allows you to remain in the driver's seat. It grants you the space to process, to observe, and to decide how to respond from a place of clarity rather than reaction. By choosing silence, you maintain control over the situation instead of allowing it to control you. Silence allows you to assert boundaries without ever having to say a word. In many instances, people will attempt to provoke you or draw you into their drama. They want you to engage in their conflict, to argue, to defend yourself, or to validate their perspective. But silence is your shield. By withholding your reaction, you are silently communicating that their behavior doesn't warrant your attention, your energy, or your time. You are not obligated to engage with negativity or chaos. You do not need to justify your existence or defend your actions. Silence becomes a statement of your boundaries, clear, firm, and without explanation. Another key benefit of choosing silence is that it allows others to reveal themselves. When you remain silent, you stop feeding into the cycle of escalation that often arises in confrontations. The other person is left to confront their own actions and words without the distraction of a response from you. They are forced to evaluate their own behavior. And in some cases, this can lead to self-reflection and growth on their part. Silence acts as a mirror, reflecting the true nature of the situation. It gives you the power to avoid getting sucked into toxic cycles of blame and anger, helping you maintain your emotional equilibrium. Silence creates an environment for introspection. In the heat of the moment when emotions are running high, we often say things we don't mean or act in ways we later regret. Silence provides you with the opportunity to step back, to assess your feelings in the situation, and to consider your response from a place of wisdom and composure. Instead of rushing to speak or act out of emotion, silence allows you to take a moment of pause. This is an opportunity to sit down, think about everything that's happened, think about your feelings, and still respond to stay focused. It grants you the clarity to determine the best course of action, whether that's to engage, to walk away, or to simply let it go. Silence helps you preserve your inner peace. In a world that is constantly demanding our attention, our opinions, and our reactions, it's easy to get caught up in the noise. But silence is an oasis in the midst of chaos. When you choose silence, you protect your mental and emotional well-being. You stop allowing others to disturb your peace. You create a sanctuary where you can think, reflect, and grow, free from the distractions of unnecessary conflict. Silence is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength, resilience, and emotional maturity. It is a powerful tool that allows you to navigate the world with grace and control, no matter what comes your way. Choosing silence over reaction is a conscious, empowering decision. It is not about avoiding conflict or repressing your emotions, but rather about mastering your emotional state, protecting your peace, and asserting boundaries. By refusing to react immediately to external stimuli, you regain control over your actions and reactions. Silence allows you to process situations thoughtfully, to assess them from a position of strength, and to choose responses that align with your values rather than being driven by impulse. It empowers you to preserve your energy, maintain clarity, and engage with the world on your own terms. Through the power of silence, you not only shield yourselves from unnecessary emotional turmoil, but also create space for growth, reflection, and inner peace. The true strength lies in choosing silence when it matters most, allowing you to move through life with confidence, grace, and a deeper sense of self-control.